This is the new OnePlus 5, the successor to the OnePlus 3T, and starting at $479, this is a solid choice if you don't feel like spending $750 on the Galaxy S8 or more expensive flagship phones. Plus, this is the first phone that I've ever used with 8 GB of RAM. Yep, it kind of looks like an iPhone and it's scary close to the Oppo R11, but if you can get past that, there's a really solid smartphone here. After spending more than a week with it, it's not a groundbreaking update, but the experience has been very solid so far. So let's start with the all-metal design. It's more rounded, more refined, it's got a nice curvature on the back, and I think it feels nice. It's really smooth though, and if you don't use one of these cases, it can feel pretty slippery. I really like the new cases that protect the entire body. The slim cases are still available too, but I really like this carbon fiber one. I can't deny that this does look like the iPhone 7 Plus, especially in black. The dual camera is in the exact same location and the antenna bands and everything, but I personally think it feels better than the iPhone in the hand. There is a 16 megapixel front-facing camera and the notification light up top, and on the bottom you get the fingerprint sensor, which is ridiculously fast. I never complained at all about the OnePlus 3T's fingerprint sensor, but this is pretty crazy. You get the volume rocker on the left side, and also one of the most underrated and slept on things about OnePlus devices is this alert slider. I love how easy it is just to control your notifications. On the bottom you get this very loud single speaker, a USB Type-C port with dash charging, the microphone, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. The display is pretty much the same as the 3T. It's a 1080p AMOLED display, and I was surprised that we didn't get a Quad HD panel this time, but the screen is very high quality 1080p, and it looks fantastic. It's nice and bright, vibrant colors with great contrast, and what I love is the customizations on the settings. For the display, you have your accurate colors with the sRGB mode, but you also have the DCI-P3 color mode, which I like the best so far. Now, there are a few new modes where it takes the information from the ambient light sensor to make your reading experience better, giving it that e-reader type feel and adding some sharpness, and an auto night mode where the display temperature changes based on your environment, similar to True Tone on the iPhone. So even though I would have loved a Quad HD display here, I'm not disappointed with it. There's only a single speaker, and I would love a dual speaker option, and the good thing is here that the speaker is pretty loud, and at full volume it can sound pretty tinny and harsh, so I would turn it down a couple of notches to get the best sound and multimedia experience. The headphone output once again is super respectable, very similar to the OnePlus 3 and 3T, and I know the future is wireless, but it's nice to have that 3.5mm headphone jack. So if you want to go wireless, Bluetooth 5.0 is here, and theoretically you could hook up 2 headphones at the same time and get playback at the same time. We saw this happen on the Galaxy S8, but for some reason I could not get that to work on the OnePlus 5. They would both connect, but they wouldn't play back audio. So I'm not sure if we need a software update here, but it would be really nice to see on the OnePlus 5. The hardware is good and everything, but in my opinion, what makes this phone stand out is the software. The performance of this phone is super fast with the Snapdragon 835 paired with the 8GB of DDR4X RAM. It's very fluid with Android 7.1.1 on board, and Oxygen OS has always been one of my favorites because it's basically stock Android with a ton of customization features and tweaks baked in. I don't find any reason to really change launchers or anything during my use, and I know a lot of you are probably wondering about the touch sensitivity or lag on the UI, and I have seen no problems with it so far. It looks like they fixed this. Everything feels fast and fluid. Even just switching from the Galaxy S8, I've noticed a speed difference right away. I love how you can customize the functions of the home button. You can have a camera shortcut on the power button here, the dark theme. I mean, this is nothing new if you've already used the OnePlus before, but the clean software experience definitely makes this phone. Of course, gaming is also buttery smooth on here, really nice frame rates. Everything I threw at it played beautifully, so I'm sure the very powerful chipset paired with this lower resolution 1080p display helps a lot. Battery life has also been solid on this phone. I've been getting about 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with heavy use, and some days when I'm just catching up on a lot of videos and browsing the web and just doing Twitter stuff primarily, I got about 8 hours screen on time. That's not typical of everyday use, but you should not have a problem getting through a full day. And if you need to top up, dash charging is here. You can plug it in for about 30 minutes and you'll be ready to go. So let's get to what everybody's interested in, and that is the new dual camera system. The main camera is a 16 megapixel Sony IMX398 sensor with f1.7 aperture, and the second camera is a 20 megapixel Sony IMX350 telephoto lens with f2.6 aperture. Very similar to the setup that's on the iPhone 7 Plus, But technically this is the highest resolution dual camera setup out right now, and it shows when you use it. There's a lot of detail, you get 2x optical zoom, and you get very good results, especially in good lighting. Now if you get into some poor lighting or in low light, it can be a mix-up. The software looks also scary familiar to the iPhone 7 Plus with the button to change in between the two lenses, and there's also a portrait mode with depth effect too. Yeah. I made a separate video on the OnePlus 5's camera, so check that out if you want to see a ton of sample pictures, low light performance, and 4K video, but I wanted to mention a few things that I didn't mention in that video. So overall, the general photos are very nice, really amazing highlight detail, and the colors are very accurate, and usually the white balance is just spot on. Most of you will be very happy with this camera, and if you like to dial in for the perfect shot, manual mode is pretty awesome too. With raw capture, this new histogram is very handy, and of course, full manual control in a nice, easy interface. There is no pro mode in video though. I'm a little bit disappointed by this, so hopefully they push this out in a future software update. They claim super fast autofocus speeds, and to me it is quick, but I personally think the S8 is faster, and the biggest thing that I think hurts some of the pictures is the lack of optical image stabilization. It was on the 3T, so I'm not sure why we're missing it here. So some of the images can come off a little soft on certain parts of the frame, and this hurts especially in low light unless you have some super steady hands. It also hurts pretty bad during 4K recording because there is zero stabilization in 4K, but there is electronic stabilization for 1080p, so you might want to use that instead. I have gotten some stunning photos from the OnePlus 5. It punches way above its price point, so make sure you check out my videos to see a more detailed look at this camera. It is not better than the Galaxy S8 or the iPhone 7 or Google Pixel, but it kind of puts it into the same class. The pictures are pretty comparable, and when you consider the price point, I think this is a good look for OnePlus. So overall, I still think that OnePlus delivers on that mantra of giving you a flagship experience for a fraction of the price. Now, is it that same groundbreaking release as something like the OnePlus One? No. We still have some compromises here, like no water resistance, no Quad HD display, and no wireless charging. So you have to ask yourself, are those features worth almost $300 more? If they are, then you need to go for something like the Galaxy S8, but if you want 8 GB of RAM, a speedy stock-like Android experience with great customization and a powerful processor, a full metal black or gray build, and a high-resolution dual camera experience, then the OnePlus 5 could be an excellent choice. It all depends on how much you want to spend. For more coverage of the OnePlus 5, hit that subscribe button and also that little bell icon so you don't miss anything, and let me know what phones you want me to compare to the OnePlus 5 in future videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.